Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Pigskin Addicts here, back again with another video. So I'm gonna jump right into this, right? You guys seen my reaction to the game the other day. You seen the live stream that I did yesterday. You seen everything that I've had to say about this. You guys see the title of this video. You guys see the thumbnail. This is nut cutting time for the Chargers, right? This is not time for narratives. Now is the time to win. It's all about wins. That's why you see the thumbnail the way that it is. I crossed out those narratives, right? I crossed out all of the fake positivity. I crossed all that stuff out because none of that matters. We as fans, we can do as much talking as we can. We can be as positive as we can. We can have the most positive thoughts. We can pray for your team. We can pray for the Chargers if you're into that, if you're religious. You can do all of this stuff. None of it covers up for the deficiencies that the Chargers have when it comes to coaching, right? And that's the biggest thing that stands out to me is coaching. Guys are not in positions to make plays. Guys are not in positions to, really affect the game in the manner that they should, right? You see there's a lot of talent on this team. Obviously there's a lot of injuries, but guess what? Injuries are not exclusive to just the Chargers. Every single team is dealing with injuries, right? Some more serious than others. Obviously the injury bug has bitten us big time this season. It's bitten us several times, at several points through this season. So I'm not saying that we don't have a lot of injuries. I'm not saying that that is something to take into account, but this is something that happens in the NFL. Guess what? I'm here to refer a message from all other 31 teams to the Chargers, Charger fans. Guess what? Guess what the rest of the NFL thinks about our injuries? They don't give a shit. They don't care. They couldn't care less about our injuries. Nobody is going to play a violin for us. Nobody's going to come and kiss our boo-boos, okay? Nobody's going to come and give us a nice warm blanket and tell us to take a nap. Nobody's doing that. This is the NFL. This is a gladiator sport. This is a collision sport. Guys are out there having many car accidents literally on every play of every game. This is what the sport, this is what it is. This is what the NFL is. And you have injuries. Yes, I get it. I understand it. Injuries can obviously change the course of a season, but injuries are built into football. Injuries are 100%. They are 100% going to happen to every football team every season. Doesn't matter if your team is good, doesn't matter if your team is bad, doesn't matter if your team is just okay, and anywhere else in between. Your team is going to deal with injuries. So what do you have to do? Roster construction has to be a premium, right? You have to build your roster with those type of things in mind, right? You obviously don't want to, go down a path where you're thinking that everybody's going to get injured. But when you construct a roster, you have to put together a team that you are going to be comfortable with if players do go down, right? You're going to need guys. You're going to need guys to step up at several points during the season. The 17-game season is a long season. You're going to need different guys. You're going to need depth pieces to step up. This is why drafting is so important, right? This is why free agency was so important. And the Chargers did a good job in free agency this year. They did a really good job. I made several videos about it. Gave Tom Telesco a bunch of credit. But now is where all of that has to come to fruition, right? It can't just be something that we talk about in the offseason. It can't just be something that we talk about during training camp. It has to be something that comes to fruition here. And if it does not come to fruition during the season, all of it is just a waste. All of it is just, fodder, really. That really all it boils down to is just nothing, right? It's just hype. This is where all of the depth pieces should come in. This is where the draft should have been hit on the head. Initially I thought the draft was pretty good, and I still think it was a good draft, right? You got 2 starting offensive linemen in this draft. You picked up a fullback, but you got a guy in Isaiah Spiller who has not had enough work, in my opinion. He barely got on the field before the bye against Seattle. That was his first time, stepping foot on the NFL field. He got his first carry in that game, his first and only carry in that game. You spent a 4th-round pick on him. If you're not going to use him, why is he there, right? You're going to need guys to fill in. Why is he there? JT Woods just got his first action a couple of weeks ago, right? He hasn't made an impact at all. These are your 3rd and 4th-round picks. You have to be able to hit in the draft. You have to be able to build the team around this star quarterback that we have. You have to be able to put pieces around him. This is what all of the best teams in the league are doing. They're surrounding their talented quarterbacks with talent all around, right? You look at a guy, Tua Tagovailoa, right? A lot of people were out on him. A lot of people didn't know if he can play or not. What did the Dolphins do this year? They surrounded him with talent, and they surrounded him with great coaching, and now he is a legitimate MVP candidate, and they lead the AFC East. The Dolphins lead the AFC East, and that's on the left arm of Tua Tagovailoa. So when we look at other teams, and it is 100% fair. It is 100% fair for us as fans. It's 100,000% fair for us as Charger fans to look at other teams, to look at their roster construction, to look at their coaching and say, hey, why can't we do that? All 32 NFL teams, they all have the same resources. They all have free agency. They all get draft picks. All of them can offer contracts. All of them can offer guaranteed money. All of them can do the same things. All 32 teams have the same resources. So there are teams that are better at it than other teams because they want to be. There's no excuses for it. We are all afforded the same resources, all 32 teams. So there's no excuses why the Chargers should be in this position right now. There's no excuses why the offense should look this piss poor. There's no excuses why this defense really has not gotten better over the season. They had a pretty damn good showing against San Francisco, but you can't just come out and impress me for one game. I want to see it throughout the season. I want to see consistency, and that's what they haven't been. So, again, all 32 teams have the same resources. Use them. Use them. The Chargers need to use them, but they're not using them. They did not do anything at the trade deadline. You obviously needed some talent at the trade deadline. The Chargers sat on their hands. They did nothing. And now the Chargers are at a point now where they need bodies. And, whoever is available, whoever is, that's in the best shape is probably going to be, signed, right? I'm looking at maybe Ndamukong Suh, possibly Linval Joseph. He was, a Charger for a couple of seasons. He hasn't retired yet. He's still looking to play. So I think that guy is probably the first person that they call now, just because they need bodies on the defensive line. Maybe Ndamukong Suh, I don't know. Maybe Tristan Hill from the Cowboys, who just got released last week. There are some guys out there that the Chargers can call, but again, it's going to be tough sledding. It's going to be tough sledding. This roster was not put together well enough. The draft was not taken seriously enough. And as far as overall team philosophy goes, what were they trying to do? I don't know what the Chargers were trying to do. They drafted offensive linemen, they drafted running backs, but they don't run the ball. How does that make any sense? None of this makes any sense. The drafting does not make sense. None of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. All of it is kind of scatterbrained and all over the place. I don't think Brandon Staley has a clear and concise philosophy for what this team has to be in order for them to be successful. Again, this is the second season in a row that they are 100% reliant on Justin Herbert. The defense has underperformed for the second straight season. Offense really does not have a direction right now. And again, I ask everybody, what do the Chargers do well? Right, they're 5-4. Yes, they're 5-4. I get it. What does this team do well? What do they do well? What is their signature? Right, besides the Justin Herbert throws that we repost on Twitter. What is the signature? What does this team do well? They don't really do anything well. They really don't. And once you come to grips with that, you can understand that this is going to be tough sledding. When you're talking about playoffs and getting into the playoffs, this is going to be tough sledding. This is going to be an uphill climb for the Chargers. They still have, I see a lot of people talking about an easy schedule. There is no such thing as an easy schedule. No such thing. The margin for error is razor thin for this team. Make no mistake about it. This is razor thin. Yes, there is some teams on the schedule that have losing records. Doesn't mean that those games are going to be easy, though. Does not mean. After this KC game, the Chargers still have 2 games where they're a playoff team, current playoff teams that they're going to have to play. They play them at home, both at SoFi Stadium, Dolphins and the Titans. And then you have 2 games against divisional opponents, right? Those games are always close. Those games are not easy by any stretch of the imagination, and they are losable. The Raiders are not a good team right now. We get it. We know that. We understand that. That's still a losable game, though. It's still a very, very losable game. The Week 18 game at Denver, still a losable game against a divisional opponent and against Denver's defense that is really, really good. So these games are losable. Let's not get into the easy schedule stretch and let's not start predicting wins and all of this stuff. We did that all season long, and it hasn't went the way that we thought it was, right? We predicted wins against Jacksonville. We predicted wins against Seattle. Those were not wins. So let's not get into that. The NFL, this is parity. This is parity going all around. And, you know, it's really good for the league. But as a fan, it's very, very unsettling, disappointing. And, you know that your team, when you know your team is capable of doing more, it's very, very disappointing. So this stretch right now is extremely disappointing if you are a Charger fan. So if you are a Charger fan, you should only be talking wins from now on. The Chargers are 5-4, and they can't afford any more losses, to be honest. If they want to be able to get into the playoffs, and kind of control their own destiny going into the playoffs, they can't afford any more losses. Because if they do get more losses, yes, they will not be out of it mathematically, but you'll be schedule watching for other teams and hoping and rooting for other teams to lose. And once you're in that area and you're hoping for other teams to lose, you've already lost. Because it rarely goes your way. So I think they have to continue to win. If you're a Charger fan, if you're a beat writer, if you're, anybody associated with the team, even if you just get on here on YouTube, you better be talking wins and losses, because that's all that matters now. All these narratives are dead. Daniel Popper narratives, dead. All of that stuff is dead. Positive Twitter, positive Charger Twitter, positive thoughts and crossing our fingers, dead. All of it is dead. Wins and losses. This is what I love about the NFL. This is a result-oriented business. It's wins or losses. Everything else is bullshit, and everything else can be thrown out with the bathwater. All of that other stuff, the narratives, the talk, is all bullshit. When it comes down to it, you must win. There's only a W and an L column. And what are the Chargers going to do? If they're going to put up W's, they're going to be okay. If they're going to put up L's, things are not going to go well. And it starts this weekend with Kansas City coming to town. Are they going to be able to respond? I don't know. Are they going to be able to even score enough points to keep up? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no faith in this coaching staff. I have faith in the players. They obviously have heart. They have not quit yet, but it's going to be tough sledding. You can guarantee it's going to be tough sledding. And you can guarantee that nobody else in the league cares about our injuries. Okay? Nobody else is talking about our injuries. We're the only ones talking about it. This team should make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, you got to reset it. Everybody has to go. You got to reset it, and you got to reset it fresh, because Justin Herbert is going to be wasted if this coaching staff comes back here. That's really all it is. If they make the playoffs, maybe Staley comes back. If they don't make the playoffs, I don't think Brandon Staley should come back, to be honest with you. Just being straight up, real honest with you. But that's all I got for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining me for the watch party for the game on Sunday. Really appreciate it. Shout out to all my new subscribers as well too. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the like button on the way out as well too. I'll be back again tomorrow with more content, and till next time.